In order to understand how to read the implementation chart, we must first take a look at a specific view inside of Wise called the Schematic View. I want you to take very close note and pay attention to how this overall folder hierarchy is laid out over here on the side on our Project Explorer. I'm going to go to the Views menu, and in our Views menu, you'll see something called Schematic View. Starting with our master audio bus, we can see that we have a top level item here that's called a sequence container called play by play. This sequence container contains two main random containers called phrase A and phrase B. Each phrase A and B contains separate smaller subcontainers or additional random containers which are used to randomly select and play back specific lines of dialogue. Each of those lines of dialogue is represented by an audio object. And finally, each of the audio objects contains a very specific file which is outlined right here. In this case, phrase A0101 contains the file vox underscore phrase A0101. The SFX here simply refers to the fact that this is located in the SFX folder of the WISE project. Now that we understand this schematic view, we can now take a look at the implementation chart itself. It may seem daunting. However, remember, it's the same pattern that we saw earlier. Each page outlines a specific phrase group. For instance, phrase A is pages 1, 2, and 3. It's because it has 18 phrases. I couldn't fit it all on one page, so I broke it up into 3 pages. Page 4 will show how the structure for phrase B should be implemented, where you see the individual audio files that create the audio objects, which are then contained in their separate line random containers. And those separate line containers are found in our main phrase B container, which then gets placed into our sequence container. And the same thing is true for phrase C, which can be found on page 5, and page D, phrase D on page 6. Now, I do want to really pay specific attention to page 7. Phrase E consists of a single line, and that single line only has 3 takes. So unlike the other ones, this does not have a separate random container for the line. It's just the 3 individual takes that are placed in the main phrase E container. So with this understanding, you should be able to follow this pretty easily and completely and fully implement the audio for our baseball play-by-play. Unlike any of the other examples that we've dealt with, you don't need to create an audio event since this is not directly tied to a specific video game.